Farmweek is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
I'm Troy Moling.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Today on Farm Week, we're doing something a little different. We're heading outside the studio and going on the road.
That's right. We'll have an interview with Mississippi Farm Bureau President Mike McCormick. He'll talk all about the things Farm Bureau is doing to make sure farmers remain successful in an ever-changing industry. This guy's story and passion for what he does is unbelievable.
Next, we'll head to the Mississippi Agriculture and Forestry Museum. There are so many exhibits and so much happening there every single day. Farm Week's Amy Myers got an exclusive tour from the museum's director.
And we sat down for a one-on-one interview with Bill Pygott. He's a member of the Mississippi House of Representatives and chair of the Agriculture Committee.
I talked with him about some of the things he's working on at the state capitol and what he and his colleagues are doing for folks working on farms and in the ag industry.
Leighton, it's going to be a really fun time. I can't wait to get started.
Well, the wait is over. Farm Week starts right now.
Jackson, Mississippi. It's known as the Crossroads of the South, or the City with Soul. It's a place that's been recognized for its southern hospitality from its people and its southern comfort from its restaurants. Being Mississippi's largest city, you can expect the hustle and bustle found in metropolitan areas. But through it all, Jackson is able to keep its small town feel alive. And it's that small town atmosphere with a sprinkling of big city living that permeates through the rest of the state. Country living is still in full force here, and its place in helping Mississippi's ag industry can't be understated. Fortunately, there's the Mississippi Farm Bureau. Land, scholarships, insurance, you name it. The Mississippi Farm Bureau is run by farmers with the goal of making farm life a little bit easier for its more than 192,000 member families. Hey Mike, how are you? Good to see you, man.
Good, Troy. How about you?
I met up with Bureau President Mike McCormick, who was on site at the Jackson Fairgrounds conducting some business. No horsing around here. I wanted to learn a little more about him and what Mississippi Farm Bureau is doing for farmers across the state. When farmers have talked to you, what are some of the things that they really appreciate that Mississippi Farm Bureau has done?
We have so many wins. If you look at our legislature just a few years back, we worked on an eminent domain issue where nationally some of the states were taking our private property and using it for private use. Mississippi Farm Bureau got together with some legislators and said that was wrong, that we need to use eminent domain for what its intended purposes were. And we actually had to go to initiative on a ballot to get that situation fixed. That was a big win for us, but we win things on a daily basis for our farmers, whether it's fighting a little small battle on an issue for a single farmer, or if it's something for the whole state or nation. We're working on those every day.
So obvious to anybody who lives here, Mississippi is such a great place to be a farmer. What makes it such a great place to be a farmer?
I think it's the diverse climate and soils that we have here in Mississippi. It allows our people to grow anything from catfish to sweet potatoes. In the Delta region, our ground there is just, we're blessed with some of the richest farmland on the planet. When you move around the state, the ground is more suitable for other things. In my part of the world, in southwest Mississippi, timber and cattle are our biggest crops that we produce. When you get over in the southeastern part of the state, vegetables, blueberry crops, and poultry is big.
Poultry's huge.
Poultry's huge. It's our number one industry here in Mississippi. Agriculture is our number one industry. Poultry is at the top of that. So poultry has been a wonderful, wonderful thing. It allows people that wouldn't have a lot of acreage out there to be able to go back to their farms and make a living on the farm. We're very proud of our poultry industry.
Do we talk about catfish too?
Catfish, our catfish guys have struggled a little bit in the past, but we're coming back strong. We have some challenges out there. We have some importation of catfish that isn't really catfish. It's not safe to eat. we had to do a lot of work to get a lot of our inspection rules in. It's been under attack now for the last couple of years to stop that. And Mississippi Farm Bureau, along with catfish industry groups, have spent a lot of time in Washington protecting our catfish industry.
Yeah, and that's just one of the programs that Mississippi Farm Bureau is helping farmers with. What are some other programs you guys are doing?
We're really proud of all of what we do, but I think helping our young farmers and ranchers get started and giving them a platform to where they can be involved with an organization that gives them a voice as a whole instead of a single voice is most important to them. But we put a lot of time and effort in that program. I encourage the young kids in the state of Mississippi to reach out to their local county farm bureaus and get involved. They'll find that it's very educational, but also a time to meet people that are doing the same things as they're doing, hearing the challenges that they're having on their farms, and network between themselves with people that they'll know the rest of their lives.
One thing you seem really excited about is farm families. What's the deal with that?
A little before 2010, a group of us got together and decided we needed to do a whole lot better job of telling our story about agriculture here in the state of Mississippi. What we find is there's a lot of misconceptions about what farmers do, how we take care of our land, how we take care of our crops and our livestock. So we got together and decided we needed a group, an organization outside of Farm Bureau, and we established the Farm Families of Mississippi. And what we do is we do a lot of education and outreach through television ads, television commercials, billboards, and through social media to let everybody here in Mississippi know what our farmers are doing and Mississippi are doing for them on a daily basis.
The partnership between Mississippi Farm Bureau and Mississippi State Extension is also pretty unique.
We have a perfect partnership with Mississippi State. I'm very lucky to have this partnership that other state farm bureaus don't have. They come to Mississippi and they're envious of what we have, but we've always looked at it as working hand in hand on behalf of our farmers in the state. We go through so many different programs, and with Extension, they develop so many different ideas for our farmers. They're the ones that are responsible for all of the cutting edge technology that we're seeing for our farmers that keeps us in business. But for Mississippi Farm Bureau, what we depend on them for is the information that they can give back to us. One thing that I'm very proud of that we work on with Mississippi State is a fact book that we develop with Extension every year. And these are something that we hand out to the legislators. We keep in our county offices for anybody that comes in, and explains each county and each commodity that we have and how much of an impact that is for that county and state. Our whole state in the state of Mississippi. It's a wonderful little book, and it helps us tremendously tell our story as farmers.
So what's your story? Did you always want to be a farmer?
You know, I did. It was never a time in my life that that's not what I wanted to do. I was very fortunate to grow up on a pretty large row crop farm. My dad, other than just a few years serving in the military, in the Navy during World War II, never took a paycheck off our farm. Everything that he had, that he made right there. And through the years, I was lucky enough to come back to Jefferson County, back to our home farm. My dad's passed away, and I have my cattle operation there and on a adjoining farm that I bought. There's not a day in my life serving as a Farm Bureau president that I would consider myself anything other than a farmer. That's who I am, and that's what I love to do, and I just thank the Lord that He's given me this opportunity, and hope that I'm able to do it the rest of my life.
Still ahead on Farm Week.
One of the things that we really try and build on are the stories. A lot of what you find in agriculture and rural life is not written down.
Take a trip through history with the Mississippi Agriculture and Forestry Museum. Farm Week's Amy Myers got a personal tour and will tell us why it might be a good field trip for you and your family.
I've taken a lot of hits on the football field, but nothing has ever hit me as hard as cancer. I'm Dak Prescott, and my mom died from colon cancer in 2013. I live every day thinking about the way she hurt. So be there for the ones you love and talk to your doctor about getting screened for colon cancer.
It's the type of equipment that serves as a bridge to the past. It's a quaint 1920s town plopped down into the 21st century. You can't talk about agriculture in Mississippi and the history behind it without including the Mississippi Agriculture and Forestry Museum. They've been giving folks a glimpse into the agricultural lifestyle since 1983. The museum receives 130,000 to 150,000 visitors every year. Agriculture enthusiasts from all over the world stop in Jackson for a step back in time and an experience you won't get anywhere else.
I was talking with an ag pilot a couple months ago who's from Israel. Yeah, he'd come and he was here for a conference, and he wanted to stop by because we actually have the National Agriculture Aviation Museum here as well.
And you'll be flying high too after a fun-filled day at the Ag Museum. Farmweek's Amy Myers got a personal tour from the museum's director, Erin Rogers. I know, she gets all the fun stories.
What is the purpose of this museum itself?
Sure. Our mission is to focus on the past and present lifestyle of rural Mississippi. And I think in doing so, you really teach a future generation about farming, about forestry, about technology. A lot of these skills that are somewhat lost, we're trying to bring them back into the fold as we kind of see population growth and needs for food, fiber, and forestry products going into the future.
Absolutely, because the needs have not changed at all.
We still wear cotton clothes. The suit's made out of wool.
The materials haven't changed. Now the way that we produce them, I'm sure, has changed a lot.
The scale's grown a lot, and that's something that we really like to talk about here is the evolution of the science, evolution of the engineering that went into bringing all these products to the scale that we have today. But I think in order to really understand that scope that we have in the present, you have to kind of see how the past worked too.
And I know a lot of people are always looking for places to take their kids during various times of the year.
Absolutely.
But all year they can come here and see all of these beautiful historic items.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 39 acres to work with here, and we have a small town, we've got a nature trail, we've got a 55,000 square foot gallery here. I have another collection on the back of the property called the Fitzgerald Collection that has over 25,000 Native American artifacts in it. The Fortenberry Parkman Farmstead, which was a farmstead that was actually removed piece by piece and brought to our campus and recreated, so it's exactly how someone may have lived 150 years ago. And so, that's one of the beauties that I find of this place is that the sheer size of us lets us really demonstrate how a lot of these products are developed and how a lot of them are made from the rough products. We grow cotton here in the summertime to the finished products. So, we gin our own cotton. We actually mill our own lumber. A lot of our buildings are built from lumber that we've milled here on site.
For the museum, it's a mission that isn't confined to the ground.
Here we are in the National Agriculture Aviation Museum. I think it's really important to show a lot of these industries. Ag aviation is one of those industries that's somewhat maligned. It can be kind of controversial, but without it, we wouldn't be able to produce the sheer amount of food, fiber that we get out of the Mississippi Delta and areas like that throughout the United States. So it's very vital to our economies, to our livelihoods here in Mississippi. And the more people know about it, the less that they find the controversy in it. And that's the way I like to kind of present a lot of the stuff that we do here. All these planes have been donated. All the artifacts that we have out here have been donated over the years. That was that kind of decade between when the idea of this place came about and the actual completion of it, where the Department of Agriculture ended up creating these massive collections. And so just different people throughout the United States would bring something by, and a variety of historians would kind of look at the different historical significance of the artifacts and put them into the collection. So we've been very lucky over the years that we've been able to have most everything on our campus donated, and that we've been able to restore a lot of this too to make sure that we keep it as functional as possible.
And the fun doesn't end when you step outside.
Luckily though, we've been able to preserve a lot of these really interesting buildings out here. We have a Masonic lodge, we have an old Episcopal church, a general store, we have a farmhouse over here. We have an original blacksmith shop that's actually behind us over here, a doctor's office, cotton gin. So we've been really lucky that we've been able to preserve a lot of the functions and the edifices of Mississippi's rural history.
Right now, with all of that said as well, how important is it to make sure that places like this are authentically done?
I think one of the most important aspects of some of the demonstrations that we do is teaching people that there was a skill to everything. Regardless of whether you were a laborer or you were a blacksmith or you were a shopkeeper. The authenticity in my mind is more of in the demonstration. That a lot of this work was really, really hard, but it was so necessary to build anything, to build a town, to feed the people in that town.
And same as today as well.
Absolutely.
Coming up next, we're heading to where Mississippi laws are made.
Agriculture to me is the driving force of Mississippi economy. It's the largest industry in Mississippi.
See what happens when agriculture and politics collide. Leighton Spann sits down with House of Representatives Ag Chairman Bill Pygott. It's an interview you won't see anywhere else.
It's a simple idea. Knowledge that transforms lives shouldn't be limited to those on a campus, but extended to any and all who want or need it, wherever they are. At Mississippi State University, we've been making that possible for more than 100 years through the MSU Extension Service. What began as an effort to extend the latest research to farmers has become something much more. Today, we're helping Mississippians from all walks of life, giving them the tools they need to build a brighter future. We're sparking the imagination of students around the state and inspiring the next generation of doctors. We're helping rural communities find their way to the internet and connect to the world at large. And we're teaching families how to lead healthier lives in ways both big and small. MSU is standing firm in its commitment to that one simple idea: extend the knowledge that transforms lives wherever they are.
It's time to get back down to business. And one place that's all business, the Mississippi Capitol building. It's Jackson's epicenter, and within these marble walls where laws impacting Mississippians are born. The House Agricultural Committee is the second biggest in the Mississippi legislature and headed up by Representative Bill Pygott. He gave our own Leighton Spann a wide-ranging interview into how he got started in the political realm and what his team is doing for the betterment of the state's farmers.
Tell me a little bit about your farming operation, what it encompasses, what you do, what you used to do.
Well, I came back to the farm when I graduated Mississippi State, and it was an old-time dairy farmer. My dad dairied most of his life. My grandfather started dairying with my dad years ago, and it just kind of evolved into the main operation as cotton left the South. It's been a good life. I can't complain. Raised a family, 2 children on it. It's a great place to raise children. It's constant work. You can learn how to work on a farm, but I dairied until I got elected to the House of Representatives, and shortly after I got elected, I dispersed the dairy. Then I transitioned into beef on my farm.
How does a South Mississippi farmer transition into politics? How did that come about?
That's a hard question to answer, how you get into politics. Politics always have been interesting to me. Been involved with some organizations that, kind of some reason there you want to make a difference. You think you can make a difference. Not necessarily true, but you strive to make a difference, so it don't take about 2 or 3 people ask you to run, and you've done over your head in it. But that's basically the way I got in it. It's just watching it, and the lack of actually, one of the reasons, lack of knowledge of agriculture in the legislature. We are redistricting is done every 10 years, and you wind up with shifting population. You get more urban legislatures, and then you do rural, and that gets to be a problem. I saw it somewhat of a problem. We have some great people here, but as we move away from the farm, so the legislature gets moved away from agriculture.
Well, you've alluded to this, but you obviously find a lot positive about, working with people and helping the people of Mississippi.
You get frustrated with the legislative process. There is probably what keeps you going is the calls from people who don't have a problem, have no earthly idea how to go about finding the right person. And when you can get that person some help, and they call you back, and they thank you and thank you, it makes it worthwhile to try to serve the people. Because it's just a matter of trying to balance everything and make sure the right things happen.
Let me ask you, not just speaking of bills that the committee has handled this year, but agriculture, what issue is really close to your heart, would you say, regardless of whether there's been a bill affecting that?
Yes, sir. Agriculture to me is a driving force of Mississippi economy. It's the largest industry in Mississippi. In 2016, the farm gate value was $7.6 billion, so that's quite a substantial number. And my goal is to make sure that Mississippi stays a right to farm state, that we have no legislation that would instruct undue regulations on the farmers, to give them where they want to be a large farm or small mom and pop operation, to give them that means where they can be productive for Mississippi. So that's the main. I think we're looking at something that's going to hurt down the road is water rights. That seems to get to be more and more of an issue, but also some of our environmental restrictions. So it's my goal to try to keep it as simple, for as complicated as it is to farm, to make it where they can farm the best they can.
And a lot of what you're speaking of there is coming from the federal side.
A lot of it's federal. A lot of it's federal. That interplays with the state, and I have no control over the federal regs, but just for our state inspection, and I'll make sure that they are no stricter than the federal regs.
As a farmer, what concerns you the most when you look at the future, what's down the road here in Mississippi?
Age of the farmer is getting to be, and it seems to be a issue every year. We don't have as many young people going into farming that we can, that should be, I think. It's very difficult to walk off the street and be in the farming business. It takes a huge investment. And most families, young families nowadays, they don't want to be tied 24/7 to a farm. So there's other opportunities. But I think that's one issue we're facing. I think we're facing other issues of competition for our natural resources that we got for farming, and also just the burden of over-regulation is something that needs to be addressed.
Can you speak any as far as extension and how
Yes, sir.
Extension has been involved in helping you as chair of the House Ag Committee?
Yes, sir. Try to work real closely with Mississippi State Extension. Mississippi State's very important to me. They are my primary resource person. Even I told you we work closely with Farm Bureau and the Cattlemen Association, but the Extension has a real good feeling of what's going on in ag and a good feedback, and they're here pretty regular to update us on what's going on with the Extension. And they're very important for every county in Mississippi to have an Extension worker in that county to help the farmers. So they do a great job.
And we want to thank Bill Pygott, the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and the Ag Museum for all their help with today's show.
And we want to thank you for joining us too. We hope you've learned something today.
Remember, you can check out Farm Week online through the Mississippi State Extension website.
And connect with us through social media to join in on the conversation. We'll see you next time.